So the book is Checklist Manifesto. So Dr. Atul Gawande, he is a cancer surgeon in America, and he is an expert in a particular cancer. These days there are specialists of everything, so he is a specialist of cancer surgery of a particular cancer, wherein people all over America, if that particular thing comes up, they prefer to go to that particular hospital. And he has written this book after say about 15 years of studies, and after 15 years when he decided to write it, he might have taken something like 15 months to write down that book. And then when I came to know about this book some 3-4 years back, I took something like 1.5 months to complete that book, and here I am required to present this book in 40 minutes. So how that is possible, I don't know, because for Atul Gawande himself, Dr. Atul Gawande, to present 15 years of experience in a particular book might be a challenge itself. And then for me to read it, the whole book, was another challenge. And now to present that book in 30, 35, 40 minutes is a big challenge. It has a lot of things, the Checklist Manifesto, which can't be covered in such a short time. But I feel like a cricketer who is trained to be a 5-day test match and is now required to play a 20-20 match. So Dr. Atul Gawande, a cancer surgeon, writes about checklist. Checklist usually is associated with maybe engineers or MBA graduate management, and a doctor writes about it. So what might be his thoughts, or is he successful in that? Or usually for me, even if we work for organ donation, the medical fraternity is a little boring fraternity. But there are some doctors who are into arts. They sing well, they dance well, they act well, but they write about an engineering aspect is something different. And about checklist, where do we use checklist? Well, usually if we go for a trip, maybe when we shift from one house to another, there is a checklist. Maybe some event has to be organized at that time, a checklist maybe comes into use. Other than that, why should anyone use a checklist? And if he says that a checklist has to be used daily, then we will say a daily routine. For daily routine, why should anyone require a checklist? And then if he says that experts use checklist, then again another doubt comes that why should any expert use a checklist? He is already an expert, he is a knowledgeable person, he has so n number of years of experience. Whatever expert he may be an investment consultant, he may be a doctor, he might be a pilot, he might be a specialist engineer, a structural engineer. But why will he require a checklist? Checklist is what? List of things and we just have to tick mark. But Dr. Gawande says that the checklist has potential to save lives, number of lives. He says that a checklist can save investment, crores of investment, Gautam. He says that a checklist helps us to build multi-storied structures, and it has the potential to save nations. So how is it possible for a checklist to do all these things? And through that book, he has given various examples, various stories, and all are facts, nothing fiction in this. And he illustrates each and everything through his 15 years of studies that has happened. So checklist starts with a simple activity, a compound activity, and a complex activity. So he has given this with examples. So what is a simple activity? So it starts with the example of Karachi, Pakistan. Now Karachi, this was in something like 2005, 15 years back. So Karachi at that time had a population of 40 lakhs, and typically the sewage was running on in the open, the water was contaminated. There was a lot of things. I don't know what the condition is today, maybe worse, I don't know. But at that time, whatever he described, it was like one amongst 10 kids was dying before he reaches the age of 5. And this was because of diarrhea or some respiratory problems. So there was no development as such in Karachi. The political system was corrupt, or it is corrupt, and the people around the world, if they want to invest in Karachi, they were not eager, because already there was corruption going on there, there were no systems going on there, so there was no chance of outside money coming into it. Then the villagers all around the city, they were not getting good rates for the farming products, and they were again flocking to the city, so the problem was getting complex. One social worker from World Health Organization, he decided to work on this project. He thought that this is an interesting project, and he was from Omaha, Nebraska, and he studied the whole, he went to Karachi, took various data, surveyed, visited various places, and after that he came to the conclusion that if the drainage system was spiked and if the water was not contaminated, then this problem could be easily solved. But it was not possible because of, like I said, the corruption that is going on, and it would take decades to build, to change, to transform the whole system. And then he came up with a very simple solution of using soaps, sabun, and people were laughing at him. But he was pretty clear in his mind that this could solve the issue. And he, at that time, Procter & Gamble, they were launching one new product, antibacterial soap, and they were marketing that product. So this person, he approached Procter & Gamble, somehow convinced them into investing in Karachi, and he convinced them to distribute a lot of soaps in Karachi. And then there was a system which was built up. He already had surveyed and he had data of the last 6 months of what is happening in Karachi, how people were dying and how the sickness was getting spread. And then they decided to distribute in a lot of 25 different trucks used to just leave and distribute the soaps in different areas. Now these areas were marked and the study started. There were also 11 areas where the soaps were not distributed, and there too the studies were going on. Now out of these 25 places, some places the soaps were regular soaps, while in some places the antibacterial version of Procter & Gamble. Both the soaps were from Procter & Gamble. One was antibacterial and the newer one, and one was the regular one. And the thing that they defined was that they defined 6 things that people should do, and they train people to do that. Now because the people were getting free soaps, if someone had just come there and advised them, they would not have listened, because politicians usually do that. But here someone was giving soaps to them and telling, so they were in a listening mode, and 6 things were required to be done. One, that they should daily bathe with that soap. Second was they should use soap after defecation. Third was that they should use soap before handling an infant. Fourth was that before preparing food they should use soap. Fifth was before eating food they should use soap, and sixth was before feeding someone they should use soap. It was so simple, and the study started. And after 6 months, surprisingly, the results came in that 53% of diarrhea had come down, 47% of pneumonia had come down, and there was a particular skin disease that was an epidemic there. 35% had come down because of just using this soap. Now, it might be various reasons. Procter & Gamble, in fact, was not so happy about this survey because they found that with regular soap and with antibacterial one, the results were same. So, antibacterial version was not the reason. Another study saw that these people were already using soap. Now, the soap that they distributed was something like 3.3 per month, 3.3 soaps per month per house. And they found out that before also they were using 2 soaps per house per month. So soaps were already being used there. The other thing was they found out that they already had good manners, like washing their hands after defecation, like washing their hands before having food. But because of this checklist, it was done compulsory. And because of that, the results came out. So checklist worked in a very simple manner in Karachi. Then there is a compound structure of working. So the example for that was the construction industry. So when we build a multi-storied structure, there are various activities that goes on in a multi-storied structure. So the concreting is done. Before that, steel is being put up. Before that, design comes up, and slowly and steadily, different agencies start coming into the picture. And then there is a multi-storied structure. Then the fire people come in, because in the same structure the fire system has to be there. Then the plumbing system comes up. Then the wiring electrical system comes up. So all these systems, the agencies have to be inculcated in that particular system. Now, how is this managed? In a multi-story structure, they found out that in a particular site, 250 people were working at the same time. Now, how can they ensure that everything goes on smoothly? So, each agency, there were 16 agencies that were working. For building a multi-story structure, at least 16 agencies are involved to execute that particular construction. And all these 16 agencies now are being given a checklist. And through that checklist, the work goes on. Now, when there is a 1 story, 2 story, 3 story structure, it's okay. But if the building goes as they go higher up, for 25 floor, 30th floor, 35 floor, then other factors come in, like wind pressure, like maybe the rain, the torrential rain start coming, maybe earthquake, maybe because of rain, non-anticipation of that, the slab suddenly, the fresh slab gets sunk, or some deformation comes up. Now, how do they handle it? Because now they can't demolish everything and again restart it. So now the compound checklist, like I said, comes into picture. The first example of Karachi was a research example. Here it is about a communication example. So what they do is they fix a date for various agencies to talk with each other, to communicate with each other, like at X date a while process has to be discussed. And this is compulsory. This is another checklist, about the simple checklist, another compound checklist comes up, wherein communication comes into picture. And the problem, that the challenges that are there are solved by communicating with each other. Maybe the initial design doesn't permit the solving of that particular challenge, but now because of communication, these issues start getting solved. And the multi-story structure, every structure in the world is completed blemishless. we are witness to it. So communication is a big part, and communication through checklist helps us solve the construction problem. Now what about complicated thing? What are the complicated things that can come up? 29 August 2005, there was a hurricane named Katrina, which had struck New Orleans. Now, in spite of information about it, people were hurt by this particular hurricane. The floods came up, and people were troubled because of this flood. The help didn't come up. Like we have a central government, then a state government, then a local corporation. In the same structure, the central government in America, this is, held all the powers, and they didn't delegate that powers to the lower ones, that is the state government. The state government didn't delegate the powers to the corporation, and because of that, there was help that had come up. Trucks and trucks of say food and water and clothing were stranded outside the city, but they were not allowed inside because the guard that was there on the city borders, he was not given permission, he was not given the authority to allow them inside. And there were people dying, and in spite of that, the electricity was not operating, the mobile towers had fallen off, and all the support system were just completely damaged at that time. Walmart reacted superbly to this particular challenge. How did they react, and what was the principle behind that? The first was analysis part, Karachi. The second was communication part, that is construction. The third, to solve the complex problem, is just distribute the power to the periphery. Just don't keep it centralized. Let each person in the hierarchy have power to take decisions. As soon as Walmart came to know that this particular flood had hit that particular city, they called their staff and told to the particular statement that the CEO used was that you will be required to take decisions which might be higher than your positions. So take whatever decisions you have to take, but let it be the right one. Only this statement was done, and after that they started working. And in the next few days, Walmart set an example on how to manage disaster. They had almost 2,498 trucks coming up inside the city to help people. They spent something like $3.5 million, like 25 crores of rupees in these 3-4 days just to save a city, a private institution doing all these efforts. As soon as the thing came up, all the 126 Walmarts were underwater and they were closed. But the meeting went up, and within 2 days, because the Walmart employees, 20,000 of them, were also displaced. So as soon as the meeting went off, within 2 days, all 63 of the Walmarts were opened. And they started distributing on their own power, they started distributing the water, the food required for babies, and the toiletries, whatever was necessary, they started distributing. After one particular lady, the manager, she went inside the whole shop was in water. She took a big vehicle, what do we say, whatever vehicle, JCB circle. So she took it inside it, loaded whatever was required, she could put her hands into, came back in the parking, she distributed it all to the public. After that, she came to know that the local hospitals told that they didn't have any medicines. She again the next day went into the pharma section of the Walmart and did the same thing, brought back medicines and distributed it to the hospitals. And before the state government could come and help these people, one day before that, Walmart successfully gave water and food to the residents of New Orleans. So a complicated problem was solved by just delegation of power, by distributing the power to the periphery. So simple, compound and then complex problems can be solved just by checklist. Then comes the investment industry. So Gautam is there. I can't take risk on the technical words of the investment industry. So what is the checklist of an investment industry? So there are 3-4 points that he has marked, and that are that one requires the members of the team to verify that they have read the footnotes on the cash flow statements. Now what happens during investment is that some of us know about investment and some don't know about it. So we usually get to know that people lose money on share market, and we have this idea that it's a gambling thing that goes on. And still, some days back, one of my friend Rajnikant, he invited me for a session wherein some group from Chennai had come, and they have records of since 2001, 18 years of balance sheet, which proves that they have earned on an average 26% income per year for 18 years. So how was that possible? This was in the share market. So how is that possible? They have these balance sheets on their website. So the answer that I got was here. One requires the members of the team to verify that they have read the footnotes on the cash flow statement. Footnotes was the key. Another has them confirm they have reviewed the statement of key management risk. A third asks them to make sure they have looked to see whether cash flow and cost matched the reported revenue growth. The checklist helps him be as smart, the particular investment advisor, the manager. The checklist helps him be as smart as possible every step of the way, ensuring that he's got the critical information he needs when he needs it, that he is systematic about decision making, that he is talked to everyone he should. And the last statement that has been made is, in a period of enormous volatility, the checklist gave his team at least one additional and unexpected edge over others' efficiency. So, research is the word that that particular consultant was telling me in that particular session. Other than research, it was the checklist that helps him bring about this result. So, the checklist was then Dr. Atul Gawande. He studied all these things and he introduced the checklist in his hospital, and then World Health Organization, who came to know about his interest. Now Atul Gawande is operating in a hospital which has 5,000 beds. So naturally he has high connections, and what the work that he is doing naturally, and it's in US. So World Health Organization came to know about it, and they appointed him to make a checklist, a standard checklist for the whole world. During operations, they found out that there are 4 reasons because of which usually the accidents happen. One is anesthesiast. The anesthesia person is not proper. Bleeding is one of the reason. Then there is infection, the third reason, and fourth they say is unknown. Anything can happen. So Dr. Atul Gawande, he first made a 22-point checklist. He himself worked on that in one of the operations, And he found out that for him too, it's very complicated to use this 22-point checklist. So he was now again required to go deeper and make a checklist which will be beneficial, which will be easy, and which can be operated all over the world. And the industry that he landed upon was aviation. So aeroplanes, the pilots, they operate only through checklist. And he studied the whole thing, and then he designed his own checklist according to the aviation industry and also according to the construction industry that he had studied at that time. So in 2007, an incident happened wherein this was in Europe again, and the pilot of that particular airplane 1549, it was a A320 Airbus, and the pilot was one Mr. Schulenberger, and Cheesy Schulenberger was his name. With him was one co-pilot whose name was Jeffrey Skiles, and again he had now this Schulenberger, he had an experience of 20,000 hours of flying in Air Force. And Mr. Skiles, he was equally experienced, and he too had a similar number of hours of experience of this particular flight as a pilot. And with them were four air hostesses there. In the pilot, as they went into the aeroplane, the first thing that is required for them is to take a briefing, meet and introduce each other, because usually who will be there as a co-pilot, who will be there as air hostess, no one knows. So the first condition that a checklist is required is you introduce yourself to everyone. So they followed that particular process and then went about their work. Now this is crucial. The pilot, the co-pilot, the four air hostess, they had 150 years of experience, and in that 150 years, no one had ever experienced any mishap, and they would have very well retired as from their work without any mishap. But in spite of that, they had this protocol of following the checklist. They started following it, and the work started. The flight took off within 90 seconds at the height of 3,000 feet. A group of geese. Now the geese are huge birds, and at that height, a group of geese came across this airplane. It was so sudden that the pilot, Mr. Schulenberg, he ducked inside the aeroplane. It was so sudden, and the geese, three of them on the right wing, three of them on the left wing, they dashed behind the wings, and the plane engines are on the wings, and they are programmed in such a way that if some heavy objects strike, the machine gets closed. So usually when one machine gets closed, one of the wings get closed, the plane can run comfortably from the other wing. But here both the wings were stuck and both the wings closed. Now the plane was in the air. It didn't have any machines working. Now what has to be done? Immediately, Mr. Schulenberg, he announced to his co-pilot, Mr. Skiles, that I am the pilot. Now this was according to the checklist. Mr. Skiles said, yes, you are the pilot. There was no argument. Kashala. So he started doing whatever has to be done to Mr. Schulenberg. It was on an automatic mode. Now the plane was gliding. He took another decision, and that was to land on the Hudson River, because the plane didn't have so much time that it would go to the airport. On the Hudson River, they were going to land, and Mr. Schulenberg, according to the checklist, he started gliding the plane in such a way that it would go as close to the ferry as possible, so that the rescue work could be easy. Now Mr. Skiles, the co-pilot, he was doing according to the checklist whatever has to be done. He started attempting to restart the engine. whatever attempts he made, it didn't start. He left the work. Then he informed the airport authorities that such a thing has happened. Please send your rescue teams on the ferry. The four air hostesses, they were informed about it. They started doing whatever has to be done, and they requested the passengers to just fold their leg, put their head inside their leg, and the plane was going to land on a river. As soon as the plane went into the waters, the plane doors were opened and the jackets were given, and everything, these rescue of the passengers after landing into the water was completed in 3 minutes. In the meantime, Mr. Schulenberg, he checked the whole plane if there was no one left out. Then he went out. Mr. Skies, he was checking whether there was any thing that would cause fire. He completed that work. Again, he went into the aisles. He saw if there was no one. He came out of that plane, and 155 passengers were saved without a scratch. So this was totally because of checklist. Another example was of Dr. Atul Gawande himself, wherein he now he has designed the whole checklist thing, but he said that and he is an expert, he is a doctor. Already 40 operations he had made of that particular cancer, and one Mr. Hagerman, he developed that problem, and he was required to be operated. And in 2007 August, this particular operation took place. So according to the checklist, it was required that there should be 4 bottles of blood to be kept in the store. Now, Dr. Atul Gawande, from his past experience, knew that this operation was very nominal. There was no requirement of blood to be kept in the storeroom. And just outside chance was there, wherein there was a nerve called vena cava, which if hurt will cause this blood flow, and the blood will surge out, and at that time the blood might be required. The operation started. The cancer particular thing was almost removed by Dr. Atul Gawande, and by mistake he hurt that vena cava nerve, and blood started coming out in a huge way. The person, Mr. Hagerman, went into a heart attack. Dr. Gawande was required to just rip apart his chest. He took the heart literally in his hand and started pumping. He was realizing that heart was losing blood, and there were chances that this patient was going to die. The blood was summoned. Along with him, there was a resident doctor, there was an anesthesiologist, there was a nurse anesthesiologist, there was a senior nurse which was helping this out. There was a student medical doctor who was there, and they had followed the checklist. They had introduced each other before the operation. Because of that, they were working as a team. Everyone started doing their own work, and finally, this patient was saved. So, the whole thing which was not anticipated was, in spite of some big issue coming up in a simple operation, according to them, a person would have lost his life, but a checklist saved that life. So these are the examples that this book carries. We are running short of time. I have 5 more minutes to go. So what is a checklist? Let's understand checklist in the next 5 minutes. Dr. Atul Gawande asks, could a checklist be our soap for surgical care, simple, cheap, effective and transmissible? Then he says there are good checklists and there are bad checklists. Bad checklists turn people's brain off rather than turn them on. This is a very good statement. आपल्याला लोकांना शिकवायची फार गरज असते कुठेतरी. Good checklist provide reminders of only the most critical and important steps, the ones that even the highly skilled professionals using them could miss. Good checklists are above all practical. When you are making a checklist, there should be a clear pause point at which the checklist is supposed to be used. There should be a pause, a stop wherein from this point the checklist will be used. You must decide whether you want to do confirm checklist or a read to checklist. Now what is the difference? Do confirm means you go on doing your work and then check whether it is right, then you just go on ticking. Read to is you first read and then do the work. So checklist, read to, you read, do the work, read, do the work. Do confirm, do the work, confirm, do the work, confirm. Read to carry out the task as they read, 5 to 9 letters, which is the limit of working memory. The wording should be simple and exact. It should fit in one page. So the checklist that Dr. Atul Gawande used, designed for the whole world to use, had pre-operation 6 points, during operation 7 points, post-operation 6 points, total 19 points, that's all. And now it is being used in the whole world. It should be free of clutter and unnecessary colors. It should use both uppercase and lowercase text for ease of reading. A checklist should be tested in the real world. This is important. We just put up some theory and tell people to use them. It's not like that. Whatever we have done, we have to practically prove that that's right. And they say the first draft always falls apart. Whatever you have drafted initially, that fails. They will to say. Like Dr. Gawande, he designed a 22-point checklist and it failed. And keep testing until the checklist works consistently. Keep on testing until the checklist works consistently. So these are the points which guide us towards a good checklist. It's 5:59 and my presentation is over.